All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with My Hero Academia. Now it's time to move on to JUJUTSU Kaisen because where we left off in the last chapter, I fear for all parties involved. So let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. Good to see you, Ogata-san. Always a pleasure to have you here. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of JUJUTSU Kaisen. Last we left off, Sukuna clashed with Yorozu, who, in terms of fighting him, wants to get married and be his wife, after everything is said and done. Now, Sukuna wants to fight Yorozu and then kill Yorozu to plunge Megumi further into despair to make Megumi's body more his own. But Yorozu wants to beat Sukuna and wants to get married to him. Like, she wants to get married to this dude so much that she's like, once I beat you, we'll get married and then we'll kill all these people and then have their heads up in the courtyard. Because, weird, twisted stuff that a lot of these resurrected and reincarnated curse users kind of think to a certain degree. But and it shows Sukuna using a lot of Megumi's techniques, mainly his divine dogs. He doesn't use the frogs, and he doesn't use the rabbits or anything, just mainly the confrontational type of Shikigamis. And he uses the dogs. And I think he used Nue as well. But then it gets to a point where he's all like, all right, time to take this out for a test drive. And we see the wheel that is on Maharaga's back, that is usually on Maharaga's back, which makes one think, oh, Sukuna's about to summon Maharaga. The uncontrollable Shikigami that not a single user of the 10 Shadows technique has ever been able to control. Yeah, Sukuna's about to bring him out now. So let's see what 218 does. Let's just see this. Chapter 218, Bath, Part 3. And it cuts to Yorozu, who's sitting in a room, just naked, just reading some scrolls in the buff. And we get some narration. Yorozu was agitated. Compared to other cursed techniques, construction used cursed energy inefficiently. In overall output, she was on par with the toughest fighters of the Heian period, but the immense consumption of energy had often caused her trouble. She once heard about a butterfly that was able to cross the sea. And all right, and I also forgot that Yorozu pretty much used her own curse technique to cover herself in like a carapace to make her look like a gigantic bug-like creature in order to fight against Sukuna. And Vespine wasps can fly over 25 ri in one day, approximately 100 kilometers. Yorozu saw a solution in the efficiency of insects. Furthermore, insects can lift several hundred times their own weight, and despite their small size, their bite is immeasurably strong. They can also fly at incredible speeds. Thus, an insect's carapace was the ultimate armor for construction. Her curse technique is called construction. She can basically make anything except for cursed tools. Once she constructed it, she could manage mid-range combat as long as she continued to feed it cursed energy to control the liquid metal. With this combat style, Yorozu defeated a force directly serving the Toe, the 5 empty generals, which equaled the Sun, Moon, and Stars squad that Uro led. And I believe that Uro is that same woman that was able to bend air around herself. The one that was fighting Yuta Okotsu along with Ishigori. She was part of that as well, and thus was acknowledged by the Fujiwara clan. And then it cuts to Yorozu landing a solid hit on Sukuna. A solid hit on Sukuna, sending him flying across the football field, and then she flies over behind him, and as Sukuna prepares to defend himself, she notices and she dodges out of the way. And then she manages to land a solid kick on Sukuna's face. Mind you, the wheel of Maharaga is above him. Now, either one or two things are happening right now. Either Sukuna is attempting to summon Maharaga, or he's learned how to summon Maharaga's power of adaptability to make it so that whatever hits him no longer works on him. Either one of those things, because the wheel of Maharaga is still just floating above him. It's still just floating above him, but we don't see Maharaga himself. But Yorozu kicks Sukuna in the face and goes, "You still don't want to use Malevolent Shrine? Cut it out! Cut it out! Cut it! Cut it! Cut, 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 cut! Cut me open! Cut my love buried in this flesh and see it with your own eyes!" And then, as Sukuna is jumping backwards away from Yorozu, the path that both of them are in gets blocked between Sukuna and Yorozu. And Yorozu stops, and she looks, and she sees in between these shadow bindings. I want to call them shadow bindings that erupt out of the ground. It just obscures Sukuna's face, and all you see is just his eye peering through, looking directly at Yorozu. Round deer. And this is a brand new Shikigami. We've never seen this before. It's a giant deer-like Shikigami. Round deer. And it appears behind Sukuna. I lost control of my liquid metal. And it shows this deer putting its nose on Sukuna's hand. I see. That Shikigami heals through reverse curse. What? So so the 10 shadows technique has a Shikigami that can heal through the use of reverse curse technique. The user itself doesn't need reverse curse technique because this round deer Shikigami has that capability. I see now why a 10 shadows technique user was able to clash with the user of the 6 eyes. I see now. Megumi basically has a jack of all trades arsenal with the 10 shadows technique, because we've never even seen Megumi summon round deer before. We've only seen the dogs, we've seen Nue, we've seen the rabbits, we've seen the frogs, and we've seen the elephant as well, but we've never seen a deer. And this deer can basically heal through the use of reverse curse technique. Interesting. I see that Shikigami heals through reverse curse technique, so it neutralized the cursed energy flowing through my liquid metal. Piercing ox. He's showing brand new Shikigami that we've never seen. And then it shows a giant ox that comes through and just hits Yorozu directly. And now we get a narration of what these new Shikigami are basically called now. By not giving 10 Shadows technique a stable form, Sukuna had expanded its effective range and prevented complete destruction. The drawback was that the Shikigami could not operate independently, comprising its offensive strength. But Sukuna could make up for that with his own immense cursed energy and output. Round deer and piercing ox have stable forms, making them a full embodiment of 10 Shadows technique. So you got one Shikigami that's just pure offense, and you got another one that is for pure healing, and essentially being pure defense. They're full embodiments. Don't count me out yet! As Yorozu grabs the piercing ox by the horns, and then throws it away. But the Shikigami is not deterred. It gets back on its feet, and it just stands ready to clash with Yorozu again. This Shikigami, as Yorozu prepares her fists. And the ox itself hits Yorozu so hard that the carapace that was once solid breaks on the eye section of it. It can only move in a straight line, but the longer it's charged, the more powerful it is. So, however far back the piercing ox is, That's how much more damage it's going to do to you if you get hit by it. It can only move in a straight line, but if it hits you in that straight line and it's traveled a considerable distance, you're getting bodied. And as she gets knocked away by Piercing Ox, then Sukuna uses the bunnies. Sukuna just unleashes a whole wave of rabbits that just surround her. Where are you? Why are you hiding? Are you ashamed of something? Now, can you withstand this? As it shows Sukuna, who's floating in the air above Yorozu, and then he summons Max Elephant. And Max Elephant is... Okay, so Sukuna is taking advantage of now he's using every single one. He's using every single one of the Shikigamis. I believe he used frogs in the last chapter. I'll have to look at it again to be sure, but I believe he used frogs in the last chapter along with the divine dogs, and I think he used Nue as well. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but Sukuna's just above her, and he jumps up in the air, like he airwalks. He literally airwalks. You see the sound effects of him going boom, boom, boom. He literally airwalks into the air, and then he summons Max Elephant and drops Max Elephant from high in the air, and Max Elephant falls to the ground with such force that it blows out every window. It blows out air from every opening of the entire stadium. The whole place just craters in on itself. Like I thought, I don't need Malevolent's shrine. Is this all your loves amount to? Is this all your love amounts to? And then it shows Yorozu, who's no longer inside of her, bug carapace anymore. She goes, I have much more to teach you about love, and ultimate strength in the solitude it brings. I'm the one who will teach you about love. And then it cuts to Sukuna, who just starts laughing. And Yorozu goes, huh? No way. Does he already know about love? No, that can't be love. You're wrong, so I'll show you true love. I will construct and show you my heart. And that's the end of the chapter. Wow, she's really trying to make Sukuna see things her way, isn't she? She's adamant about getting married to this guy. Even though the bodies they're using are, like a stepbrother and sister, she's adamant about being with Sukuna. It's weird. But this whole chapter just basically shows that nothing that Yorozu is doing is working. And it hasn't worked. Because this man not only has maximum amounts of durability. Mind you, he got hit once. He got hit once. Actually, it was twice. He got hit twice. He got punched in the face by Yorozu and then kicked away by Yorozu. But this man pulled out new Shikigami that we haven't seen, Round Deer and Piercing Ox. And it's like, okay, so this man has techniques that will allow him to heal himself. Mind you, Sukuna can already heal himself. She terrifies you? Yeah, she kind of terrifies me as well. I will show you my love even if it kills you! She's kind of like Asuka from The Legend of Korra. Massively insane in the pursuit of love. To think these two are using Megumi and Sumiki's body so casually, yeah, just the casual nature of it. But what makes this even scarier on Sukuna's side is the fact that this man already can use reverse curse technique. He can already use it. He used it when he was in Yuji's body. Pretty sure he can use it in Megumi's body. But the fact that we see two new forms, two new Shikigami in the Shadows technique, 10 Shadows technique. One that is just absolute power. The longer it runs, the more powerful it'll hit a person. And then another that is just basically a walking reverse curse technique healer that can just basically heal Sukuna on command whenever he wants. To think that Megumi had these Shikigami and he never used them. Maybe he didn't even know that the piercing ox and round deer existed. Because do you realize how many of his fights probably would have been less strenuous for him if he known about round deer and healed using its power? I don't think Megumi even knows that he had some of these Shikigami in the Shadows technique itself. Megumi, when you think about it, has an overpowered power. So like I said, I can see how a 10 Shadows technique user was able to fight a user that had the 6 eyes. I can see that now. Because there's so many options that the 10 Shadows technique can actually offer. Let me go Shadows. Let me go here. Let me pull this up. Also updated Chrome, so pages are loading so much faster, which is absolutely fantastic. So what we have here, we have Divine Dogs, we have Nue, we have Toad, Great Serpent. I forgot about the Snake Shikigami. We have the Great Serpent, we have the Max Elephant, we have the Rabbit Escape, and they haven't added to the channel, they haven't added to the wiki yet, but we also have Round Deer and Piercing Ox. The only one that is not yet fully controlled is General Maharaga. But the peculiar thing about this entire chapter is the fact that I honestly thought he was going to summon Maharaga during the fight. I actually thought he was. But he's not doing that. He only summoned the wheel that is on Maharaga's back, which we know that every single time that wheel turns on Maharaga's back, that makes Maharaga pretty much able to counter whatever attack hits him afterwards. So my thing is it possible to take an aspect of a Shikigami and use that power for yourself without actually summoning the entire Shikigami itself? Because Maharaga is yet to be seen, yet his wheel is right behind Sukuna, which makes me think that Sukuna has already possibly figured out how to take Maharaga's ability to adapt and then put it on himself so that no matter what Yorozu throws at him, it gets completely nullified and he's able to counter it. That's what I think. I honestly think that Sukuna has learned how to take Maharaga's adaptability power and put it on himself so he can counter anything that's thrown his way. This man literally now has a full counter now, if that's the case. So, see, here's my thing about this story, and I know people can say what they want about Jujutsu Kaisen. I think the story is great, but every single time I see these villains pull out new things, and I don't see the heroes getting anything new, I'm like, when are they gonna catch a break? I know there's no real heroes in this story. There are just people who fight to protect others and people who fight to subjugate and kill others. Not necessarily making them heroes and villains, but there are definitely some villains in this entire story. But every single time I see like a villain in this story get a brand new power, I'm just thinking, you can stop getting power now. Sukuna is already overpowered. He was overpowered the first time we saw him. The only reason why he didn't contend with Gojo the first time was because it was one finger. But Sukuna is literally 5 fingers away from being at his full strength. And every finger has made him stronger. He's five fingers away from being at his former full strength again. Everything we've seen of Sukuna has been a weakened version. He's still not capped out. And yet this man keeps gaining more power. This man has not reached 100% power yet, but he keeps gaining more power on top of what he already is. Does Sukuna have an ability that lets him master any technique of the ones he possesses? Here's my thing. We should see. I think the indicator of this and his ability to copy other curse techniques or at least techniques that he can see, was way back when he was fighting Jogo. Because I remember when he was fighting Jogo, beforehand, we never saw Sukuna use any fire techniques or abilities. But during his fight with Jogo, pretty much near the end of it, where Jogo was preparing to hit Sukuna with something, Sukuna says, like, you know what, let's make this more interesting. And then Sukuna said some unintelligible cursed spirit words, and then he basically started using a fire technique that was far more powerful than Jogo's. So what if Sukuna is able to copy the abilities of other cursed spirits? Because that seems likely, because Maharaga is a cursed spirit. It's a cursed technique. It's basically a cursed technique, but it's still a curse all the same. So what if Sukuna is able to copy and master techniques that he sees? Because remember, he went up against Maharaga. So I'm pretty sure he knows about Maharaga's ability to adapt, and adaptability that makes him resistant and able to counter everything that's done to him. So what if Sukuna basically just copied Maharaga's adaptability ability? Because that's the only thing that comes to mind. That's the only thing that comes to mind. I don't think he even had any intent on summoning Maharaga. Why summon an uncontrollable cursed spirit, cursed Shikigami? Why summon an uncontrollable Shikigami when I can just take its power for myself, copy it, and use that whole power for myself? I think that's what he did. Okay, so I've been blitzed. We've been blitzed. I thought that we were going to see Maharaga, but Sukuna was going to control him. That's not even the case. Sukuna doesn't even need to summon him now. He just needs his wheel on the back that makes him adaptable, that basically turns him into Doomsday. It was creeping on the nose. I just had to get it out. So now, not only do we have Sukuna, who's in the body of Megumi, who has the power of the 10 Shadows technique, that is also affected by his immense cursed energy output, and he can basically use any curse technique to its maximum power, even more so since it's Sukuna, but now he has access to the abilities of Maharaga without actually having to bring in Maharaga. And now Sukuna, on top of his ability to heal instantly, withstand basically anything, now he basically has the power. It would appear he has the power to counter everything that hits him. Which is why the liquid metal curse technique from Yorozu doesn't work on him anymore. Not gonna lie, Gojo should have killed Itadori because the situation's gone out of control. It's way out of control right now. We are now dealing with a Sukuna that was already overpowered when we first saw him, and reached a high level of power now, and now he's basically able to counter everything because he's using Maharaga's wheel. And then we still got Kenjaku out there, who's trying to combine Tengen with all of humanity. Like, something's gonna give. Ain't no way, there is no way that Sukuna is just gonna let the world exist as it is, and Kenjaku's the one pulling the strings and the one trying to manipulate in and everything. What is Yorozu's curse technique again? I always forget what it was. She has a curse technique that basically allows her to create anything using this special liquid metal that she's created. So she's able to create weapons, but the one thing that she can't create are cursed tools. So it's basically a liquid metal that maintains itself around her. And using cursed energy, she can shape it into anything. But as this chapter reveals, her cursed technique is not very cursed energy efficient. It's incredibly inefficient, mind you. So if I go back over here to the front, it says that compared to other cursed techniques, construction, which is her ability, use cursed energy inefficiently. In overall output, she was on par with the toughest fighters of the Heian period, but the immense consumption of energy had often caused her trouble. So she can create anything with construction, but it's so inefficient that it massively drains her cursed energy reserves. But the thing is, her whole technique that she used, including this big bug carapace that she created for herself, it might as well not even work against Sukuna, because later in, when she gets repelled by it, it basically makes it so that she gets repelled by Round Deer. And since it's a reverse curse technique, it can neutralize the cursed energy flowing through her liquid metal. So not only does Sukuna have, it's that curse technique. I always forgot it's hers. Thanks for reminding me. No problem, Harlster. No problem. But given the fact that Round Deer uses a reverse curse technique, it can nullify her liquid metal curse technique, which makes it so that everything that she's shown to do right now, as long as Sukuna has that Round Deer, it can just straight up nullify it. Well, basically nullify the cursed energy flowing through it. So it makes it pretty much ineffective. So I'm also interested in seeing how, like, she's so adamant. She's so adamant on showing Sukuna how much she loves him, saying, I have much more to teach you about love and ultimate strength and the solitude it brings. I'm the one who will teach you about love. And then Sukuna is laughing as if he already knows what love is. And she's upset because it's like, oh, whatever you feel, that's not real love. I'm going to be the one to teach it to you. You're wrong, so I'll show you true love. I will construct and show you my heart. Which means I feel like Yorozu's about to pull out her trump card. Because she's ranting and raving. She's getting all out. I honestly feel like she's about to pull out her trump card. And then Sukuna's still going to deal with it. This is Sukuna. I know back in the last chapter, some people were trying to call me out saying like, hey, you're making it seem like Gojo would easily defeat Sukuna. So Gojo is massively strong. But we got these chapters now, and it's showing like, who can defend themselves against Sukuna? Remember Ishigori? That dude can use curse technique to shoot out his granite blast that can destroy entire city blocks. The man literally got sliced through by Sukuna so quick that he didn't even use a technique. He just sliced through Ishigori's face so quickly that Ishigori couldn't even really respond to it. Yeah, he knows what love is. He just doesn't care about it. Yeah, he doesn't care about her. He doesn't. Because let's not forget the real reason why he's fighting in this fight. He fights with the intention of killing Yorozu and by extension Sumiki, in the hopes of plunging Megumi far, far more into despair to make his body more his own. That's the whole purpose of this fight. Yorozu thinks that she's going to come out of this with a marriage. Sukuna intends to kill her. And this entire time, Sukuna has just been coaxing throughout everything. He got punched in the face once and then kicked in the face, and yet this man still walks around as if nothing has really happened to him whatsoever. So I fear for where the story's gonna go for Yorozu, Sumiki, Megumi, everybody, because we're just focusing on this whole Sukuna fight right now, but we're just gonna have to see. We're not going on break either. We're getting a chapter next week, so we get to find out what happens with whatever Yorozu chooses to construct in front of Sukuna to prove what love really, what is love? Like, we're gonna see what happens next week. But overall, this was I enjoyed this chapter, but it's like Sukuna just keeps pulling out new attack after new attack after new attack, and it's like, this dude doesn't have a limit. This dude doesn't have a cap. If he has one, we just haven't seen it yet. So we're just going to have to see where the next chapter leaves us. But that's where I'm going to call it for today, ladies and gentlemen, because family has cheese sticks and pizza, and I will partake. So to everyone here, I just want to say, Ogata-san, Psycho, Halster, it's always an immense honor and pleasure to have you here with me. Whether you're here for what I do, specifically for One Piece, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, or my series, or basically anything else, I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys. Not just you who are here in chat, but everyone who's watching. I appreciate every single one of you. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Yeah, Ogata-san pizza. Hope there's some meat lovers, because if it is, y'all ain't gonna hear about me for the rest of the day. Hope y'all all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, I'm hyping my pizza.